Good day, everyone. Today, we are going to discuss the very first chapter of our course, which focuses on the definition, importance, and types of instructional planning. These lessons shall be discussed to you by our group that includes Ma'am Daisy Galupo, Ma'am Aileen Mendoza, and Ma'am Nika Kalimag. Now, in order for us to proceed further with our discussion, let me first present to you the learning targets or learning objectives of our lessons today. That at the very end of our discussions, you must be able to achieve. First, demarcate or define instructional planning aligning to teachers' own experiences. Second, construct concept map of instructional planning covering the demands of the visional curriculum involving in special education. And third, elucidate the importance of instructional planning in a successful classroom experiences. So those are our learning targets or learning objectives. In order to reach those ends goals, primarily we will go through these two general topics. And these are the following. The first one is instructional planning, and the second one is issues-related instructional planning, which I have said earlier will be discussed to you by our group. Let's go through the first topic, the instructional planning. And as part of the introduction, let's first reflect on the reality. Teachers have the challenging task of conveying information to a room full of students with varying learning styles. The teacher is typically assigned a curriculum guide containing the set of information the class is expected to learn. Now, my questions to you. How much are we challenged in conveying information to our students? Do you find difficulties in conveying ideas or information to your students? And what are the factors that make teaching difficult? In psychology, it is important for us to know the factors for which have caused to find difficulties in teaching students so that we will know better how we can address the challenging tasks that have been delegated to us. As teachers, we are facilitators of good education of children. Therefore, we must strategize how we can be able to overcome sorts of challenges we face inside the classroom when it comes to diverse learners. Further in this activity, I want you to reflect or think of your definition of instructional planning based on the pictures that I will be flashing on my screen. You may say out loud your ideas about the pictures, or you may silently speak to your mind your own definition of the instructional planning from the pictures. For every image, I will be giving you 20 to 30 seconds time frame for the definition of instructional planning. Thereafter, I will be giving my own view about it. The first image is this. Reflection. In instructional planning, the knowledge of experts interferes or controls the lessons or subjects or topics to be discussed by the teachers to students. The lessons are fundamentally built so that students may meaningfully adopt and diversely establish learning on their own with the guidance of their teachers. Instructional planning is geared towards giving students lessons based on their needs. The second image goes like this. Reflection. Instructional planning is a challenging task that a teacher must take into account as a responsibility for their students. No matter how difficult it is to carry children's fate on their shoulders, instructional planning may help them devise programs to ease the education of the students and thereby achieve meaningful learning in and outside the schools. And the last image is this. Reflection. In these pandemic times, diverse approaches have been integrated into the curriculum of a particular school. One of the approaches being integrated is the online class. With that, most of the teachers find difficulties handling students' learning as they have minimal academic and social interactions with each other. That is why devising new strategic instructional planning will help teachers cope with the problems as they align the lessons with the situational and conditional status of the students during the pandemic. And so generally, instructional planning is a process of devising specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely lessons or activities that cater students' needs. Furthermore, according to the given module, the definition of instructional planning is an act or process of making or carrying out plans. Instructional planning is a process of the teacher using appropriate curricula, instructional strategies, resources, and data during the planning process to address the diverse needs of students. Moreover, it is the ability of the teachers to visualize and foresee into the future of what, why, and how of the teaching learning process. In addition to that, let us watch a short video clip that explains instructional planning both from the theoretical and practical perspectives. Now, according to the video, instructional planning instructional planning is not a different thing we have never done before. It's actually the same thing that we used to do that requires same skills when we plan for the betterment of our lives in the society. Instructional planning is just a more complex version of the reality we have. It is a more complex version because specifically focuses on making the education of the children better and so to make meaningful learning out of the plan we do for our diverse strategic instructions as our teaching methods in the classrooms. Now, in this slide, let's proceed to the synthesis in the instructional cycle. What is curriculum? A curriculum is a systematic plan for a school system. The learning, intended and unintended, that takes place under the sponsorship of the school. The term curriculum refers to the lessons and academic content taught in a school or in a specific course or program. Moreover, curriculum typically refers to the knowledge and skills students are expected to learn. The learning standards or learning objectives they are expected to meet, the units and lessons that teachers teach, the assignments and projects given to students, the books, materials, videos, presentations, and readings used in a course, the tests, assessments, and other methods used to evaluate student learning. The reality now is even before we are set to teach inside the classroom as professional teachers, we have been hearing this term curriculum as part of our everyday life at school. This curriculum is the blueprint or navigation map as to where we are going or to where we want our students to go in the future. An individual teacher's curriculum, for example, will be the specific learning standards, lessons, assignments, and materials used to organize and teach a particular course. Learning standards are the learning competencies that we want our students to achieve at the very ends of our lessons. Lessons are the proper ideas that we want to teach to our students, either physical or online. Assignments are the assessment tools to know or find out whether our students have understood the lessons being taught to them. These are either summative and formative assessments. And materials refer to the resources we use in order to devise our instructions or the resources we use in order to maintain active participation among students inside the classroom. Now, with regards to the curriculum, these are the services that the curriculum offers to school, especially teachers, as the receiving ends. Academic programming reviews, recommendations to strengthen instructions, curriculum and implementation resources, revision and development, framework development to ensure quality, rigor, and alignment, customized assessment and development, professional learning workshops for administrators and educators. In conjunction to the curriculum, there is what we call the curriculum mapping. What is curriculum mapping? Curriculum mapping is the process of indexing or diagramming a curriculum to identify and address academic gaps, redundancies, and misalignments for purposes of improving the overall coherence of a course of study and by extension its effectiveness. A curriculum in the sense that the term is typically used by educators encompasses everything that teachers teach to students in a school or course, including the instructional materials and techniques they use. Furthermore, it is basically how educators plan what subject content students will learn over the course of the year. It is basically how we plan for what we teach to the students throughout the course of the year by asking the following questions to ourselves. Who am I teaching? What am I teaching? How will I teach it? How will I know if the students understand it? These questions will ascertain the type of students that teachers are about to teach inside the classroom. Teachers should know first their students and know what ideas are needed to convey to them or teach them, and also to be able to find out what instructions or activities they need. To see various steps in doing curriculum mapping, you will notice in the cycle how it goes. In the step 1, we have the structure, or our basis, or the objectives, or our desired goals. The step 2 is the map. Step 3, the report. The step 4 is the analysis of the report. And that step 5, when we already analyze the report, then that's the time for us to refine it whenever there is a need of refinement of the report that we have. And after that, we have to establish again our desired goals or structures. So that's how curriculum mapping is being done. At this point, let's find out ways on how curriculum is mapped by the school or by school administrators. Curriculum mapping aims to achieve success over 4 goals. The first one is vertical coherence. The second is horizontal coherence. The third is a subject area coherence. And the last one is interdisciplinary coherence. Now, in the succeeding slides, let's discuss each of the 4 goals. We have the first one, which is the vertical coherence. When a curriculum is vertically aligned or vertically coherent, what students learn in one lesson or course or grade level prepares them for the next lesson, course or grade level. As you can see in the chart, there is this vertical development of the ideas or information that the students learn. The second one is the horizontal coherence. When a curriculum is horizontally aligned or horizontally coherent, what students are learning in one 9th grade science course, for example, mirrors what other students are learning in a different 9th grade science course. The third one is the subject area coherence. When a curriculum is coherent within a subject area, such as mathematics, science, or history, it may be aligned both within and across grade levels. And the one of the 4 goals is interdisciplinary coherence. When a curriculum is coherent across multiple subjects, such as mathematics, science, and history, it may be aligned both within and across grade levels. As you can see, there is these connections among different subjects or course, like agriculture to ecology to chemistry to infectious diseases, to general medicine, to physics, to engineering, to computer sciences. That is how subjects or courses intertwined or coherent to each other. Now, to understand the importance of curriculum mapping, Let's watch a video that discusses its importance.
When you are traveling, you don't want to get lost. When you are traveling to a certain destination for the first time, you need all the help you can get. Maps help us this way. In schooling, such as homeschooling, we also need the curriculum map. What do you plan to cover for this year with your lessons? Are you sure that your lesson for science is integrated with math? Or are they age appropriate? Curriculum Map can help you in this way. Curriculum Map addresses learning and lesson redundancies, gaps, holes, misalignments. It is actually a blueprint of what you intend to cover for the entire school year. It also facilitates continuity and lesson accountability. It also addresses the holes that you need to address again, and even the frequency of topics that you might have covered over and over and over again. Curriculum Map can help you greatly. It can help you pace your lessons, and at the same time, it will direct you to where you need to go. Feeling lost in your curriculum lessons? Let the map help you. Curriculum Map, it will definitely work for you. Happy homeschooling!
According to the video, these are the following importance of the curriculum mapping. First, plan to cover for the year. The curriculum mapping helps us oversee what we will have to cover in our teaching for this school year. It helps us prepare the sequence of the topics to be taught to students so that there won't be any misalignments or redundancies. Second, subject integration. The curriculum mapping helps us integrate one subject to another. The subject integration is also important so that students find connections of a particular subject to other subjects. And last, age appropriate. The curriculum mapping helps us appropriate topics within the subject we are teaching to students to their age. It is because if we are going to discuss topics appropriate to the student's age, they will easily understand connections between lessons that we are teaching to them. Additionally, it is also said that curriculum mapping is the blueprint of the lessons for the entire year. It facilitates the continuity and lesson accountability. It also tracks frequency of topic coverage. Now let's proceed to another lesson. And let's ask ourselves, what are the sequence teachers use to plan their curriculum? The teacher's responsibility involves selecting the curriculum on both a long-term and short-term basis. To accomplish this task, the teacher must consult a variety of sources, including state curriculum frameworks, district curriculum guides, school guidelines, and relevant adopted textbooks. These plans become the blueprint for instructions. Now, before we proceed further, let's first identify or define what is long-term curriculum and what is short-term curriculum. And let's see their differences. Long-term curriculum is a general outline of how to accomplish major curriculum goals of the school year. It is a big picture view with the beginning of the school year or term as your starting location and the end of the school year or term as your destination. Think of it as a navigation plan that you might use to get to the store. A long-term plan with major curriculum goals placed along the path allows you to know where you are going and how you will get there. It is helpful that you do not have to have every detail of the plan or pathway figured out for it to keep you focused and on track towards your destination. It is not limited to one type of educator, and it becomes a reference tool for the remainder of the school term for which you planned. Let's proceed to the short-term curriculum. Short-term curriculum is to teach in-service teachers theoretically and practically on how to plan for a lesson. It is the framework for which teachers use to implement for teaching lessons inside the classroom for a specific time. So that is the definition of the short-term curriculum. And that is how long-term curriculum is differentiated from short-term curriculum. So let's proceed further. What are the three structures of curriculum, and when are they best used? The first structure of curriculum is student-centered. The second one is subject-centered. And the third one is integrated or thematic or interdisciplinary curriculum. In the succeeding slides, let's discuss them one by one. Student-centered. Student-centered operates with students as the center of the learning process. Activities are planned jointly by the teacher and students. The teacher is seen as a stimulator or facilitator of student activity. The student-centered curriculum is the most appropriate curriculum pattern for the elementary school level. Next, the subject-centered. School curriculum patterns wherein subjects are separated into distinct courses of study. The curriculum is divided into subject areas, and there is little flexibility for cross-curricular activity. Emphasis is placed on acquisition, memorization, and knowledge of each specific content area. Within this curriculum structure, a strong emphasis is placed on instructions, teacher-student explanation, and direct strategies. Direct strategies include lectures, questions and answers, as well as teacher-student discussions. These curricula often encourage memorization and repetitive practice of facts and ideas. And the last one, integrated, which is thematic or interdisciplinary. It is a form of teaching and learning that draws upon the knowledge and skills of a variety of discipline areas as they become necessary in problem solving. It is argued that such a strategy better reflects real-world problem solving than does single subject instructions. So those are our three structures of the curriculum. Let's proceed further. And let's ask ourselves, what is backward design and how it is used to design a curriculum? A three-stage approach that identifies the desired result first and then works backward to determine assessment criteria before developing instruction to achieve the desired results. And these are the three parts of this backward design. First is identify desired outcomes. The second one is determine what constitutes acceptable evidence of competency. And the third one is planning activities or plan learning activities to achieve these competence levels. And so this is how the backward design works. Please see the image to understand it better. We have here the identified result or the identified desired results, which is the first part of our backward design process. With our question, what I want the students to understand and know and be able to do. The second one is determine assessment evidence. And we have the question, how do I check they have learned something? And the last one, plan learning experiences and instructions with our question, which learning activities will lead students to the desired results. And as part of the process, and as part of its nature, we can do it backward because as it's being called, it is backward design process. We may we may again start with the planned learning experiences and instruction, and proceed to determine assessment evidence. And lastly, we have this identify desired results. So that's how a backward design process works. So last part of our slides or reporting, for the first part of our reporting, is the 4 levels of planning. And we have here the curriculum mapping. That is what we have discussed the very early of our, the very first part of our discussion a while ago. The second one is the unit planning. And the third one is the weekly planning. And the fourth one is the daily lesson plans. Just to again remember or review what we have about curriculum mapping. Curriculum mapping is the course planning. And the second one is the unit planning. It is a series of many intended learning activities and experiences unified around a theme or a cluster or related concepts. And the third one is weekly planning. Essentially short, watered down copies of the week's daily lesson plan and written or special forms provided by the school. And the fourth one is daily lesson plans. Defines the objectives and class activities. A lesson plan is a teacher's daily guide for what students need to learn, how it will be taught, and how learning will be measured good for one day. These levels of planning have never been strange to us as teachers. These levels of planning are part of our daily lives as professional teachers. These are actually what we usually do every day in order for us to better serve our students, to better deliver the lessons to our students. And so, to create and establish or to produce students meaningful learning in them. And lastly, and eventually, to be able to instill in students the very values of learning inside the classroom, in or outside the classroom. So, those are our levels of planning. Thank you very much. And that is my part for this chapter 1.